Max Verstappen, Sebastian Vettel makes huge F1 title claim about Red Bull star. Verstappen is still a relative young gun in the sport but has already been earmarked as a future champion. The Dutchman, 21, finished fourth in the drive standings this year after 2 wins and 11 podium finishes. Lewis Hamilton ran away with his 5th title with 11 victories, but Vettel reckons Verstappen will offer more of a challenge in the coming years. "I don't think he needs any advice," the 4-time world champion said. "I think he's got all the ingredients. I think there's a couple of guys out there who have these qualities and Max is certainly one of them. I think both, to be honest, Max and Daniel have proven that they can be very, very quick and very consistent, so I'm sure more of him, he'll be up here." Verstappen's Red Bull will be powered by a Honda engine from next season, but he insists there is a plan B if things don't go well. And he revealed he's excited by the prospects of teaming up with Charles Leclerc. "I really like this team and I'm sure we can build the fastest car ever," Verstappen said. "We only need an engine that can deliver at the top." "Next year we must try to go for it and set the stage for 2020 with the goal to fight for the title." Vettel meanwhile was given less support by Ferrari after the death of Sergio Marchionne, according to Bernie Ecclestone. Lewis was outstanding, but he also got total support from his team, Ecclestone told Germany's Auto Bild. "You cannot say that about Sebastian. My impression is that Ferrari fell into old habits after the death of Sergio Marchionne. Suddenly there were strange strategy mistakes, and from the outside I had the impression that Ferrari did more for Kimi Räikkönen than for Sebastian." "But a team must support its title favorite without compromise. So I see him, Vettel, as a victim, not a culprit." Next news: Ricciardo still wonders who vetoed his move to Ferrari. Daniel Ricciardo revealed that the hopes he harbored earlier this year of racing for Ferrari in 2019 were short-lived because of someone's opposition to his presence at Maranello. Before his decision last summer to switch his allegiance from Red Bull to Renault for next season, the Australian driver had been in discussions with the Scuderia about possibly replacing Kimi Räikkönen for 2019. In the end, however, the talks fell through, with speculation that Ricciardo's financial demands had perhaps exceeded what Ferrari was prepared to offer. "I can't say why," he told Italian outlet Automoto when asked if he wanted too much money. "I don't know what you're talking about. Who said I'd asked for too much money? Evidently someone said no to my rival." "Who? I'd like to know, but maybe I have an idea." While not denying his contact with the House of Maranello, Ricciardo felt at the time that the fate of Räikkönen's seat had already been decided. "We had discussions, but you could see that they had already made arrangements with Leclerc, so my talks fell through," he added. "I hope for them that it's the right choice and that it works out well. As far as I'm concerned, I hope to still be in F1 for some time and maybe there will be an opportunity to meet again." Next news: Silverstone boss won't pay any price to retain British GP. Silverstone managing director Stuart Pringle has warned Formula One's bosses that the venue won't remain the home of the British Grand Prix at any cost, as the circuit works in priority to diversify its revenue stream. Last year, the BRDC, which owns and operates the historic track, triggered a break clause in its current burdensome contract with F1 that could see Silverstone host the British GP for the last time in 2019 unless a new, more favourable agreement is signed sealed with Liberty Media. Pringle addressed the issue on Monday at the BRDC Awards, in the presence of F1 CEO Chase Carey. "We got ourselves into a pickle because we had a business that was solely financed by the Grand Prix," Pringle said. "So we had to diversify, And we're doing that. We're going to build a hotel, we've got Silverstone Experience opening, and we have some additional short-stay luxury accommodation. Aston Martin are now tenants on site. Things are very much heading in the right direction, and it gives us the confidence to sail. Lord knows we want to keep the Grand Prix, but not at any price. We are going to have a broader, more diverse business that can survive without it. But we'd much rather have one with it. Kerry wouldn't give anything away with regard to F1's ongoing negotiations with Silverstone, but the American executive reiterated his belief that the sport must retain its historical roots, even as it extends its calendar to include new venues. We've been very clear, you always build a sport on its foundation, and the foundation of this sport is here in Europe, Kerry said. The fans that have been followers for the longest period of time are here in Europe, and you have to build a sport on top of its foundations. We are committed to making sure the sport is strong here. We think we can engage fans, new fans around the world. The reality is most of our events are reasonably long-term, so there is a lot of stability to what we do, he added. But we do think you want to bring some freshness to it. We think it's important to go to some places that can capture people's imagination that are new. That being said, we want to be sure we continue to cherish what has made this sport so precious for so long. Next news: Gasly predicts exciting time for Red Bull with Honda. New Red Bull driver Pierre Gasly believes that 2019 will be an exciting year for the team as it switches to Honda engines over the winter off-season after 12 years with Renault. Gasly has some specialist knowledge in the area, having raced with Honda power units this season at the Toro Rosso Junior squad. I really believe in this project and I can see how much work and dedication they are putting in, the French driver told Sky Sports News. At the moment, Honda still has a deficit in power to the leading engines provided by Mercedes and Ferrari. However, Gasly didn't think that would last for long. I'm sure they are going to close it at some point. We just need to give them time, he continued. But I'm sure with the experience of Red Bull, mixing these two really strong companies, they will come up with something really exciting for next year. We also need to see how it goes with Honda, but I think it'll be really interesting, he added. Red Bull showed at the end of the season they were fighting for victories. Max got one in Mexico and was probably going to get one in Brazil as well. Clearly the package works, he said. If there is a winning car, I'm sure he's going to be right at the top. That all sounds like good news for Max Verstappen, but what about Gasly? At 22 years old, he's actually 18 months older than his new teammate. However, he's only competed in 26 races up to now compared to Verstappen's 81. Making him very much the junior partner in next season's Red Bull lineup. The Frenchman agreed that he still had a lot to learn, while not conceding that he would be the team's de facto second driver in 2019. He did admit that he would have an awful lot to catch up on now that he's in F1's big leagues. I'm still only going to be in my second season of Formula One, he acknowledged. There are still a lot of things to learn, and I still need to develop myself. But I know I'm quick, he insisted. I need to make the best out of my skills and my qualities, but also work on all the areas I can improve. We will see how it goes against Max. He is one of the most talented drivers at the moment. It's always good to be next to a competitive guy. It will be my job to make sure I'm right there as well, he said. I'll give him the hardest time I can and then try to develop as much as possible as a driver. We'll see the result I get next year. Sky Sports F1 pundit Martin Brundle said he expected Gasly to stand up well in 2019 despite the increased glare of media spotlight. "I think he'll do a very solid job," Brundle said. "I have no doubt he has good speed, and now it's a question of whether that can translate into the sort of consistency the top 3 teams demand. You can't have weekends where you go on the missing list. You have got to deliver all day, every day and every weekend. We'll see whether Pierre can do that." Thanks for watching videos.